Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sumriti and today we will discuss about the topic diabetic neuropathy. So हमारी जो country है India, उसमें most of the patients we come across they are diabetic. Okay, so most of the patients complains that they feel like burning sensation and very painful in their foot or hand, basically the extremities. So when we go into the history of these patients, we always come across the diabetes. So main cause of these tingling and burning symptoms of patients are due to diabetic neuropathy. So I wanted to share my limited knowledge about this diabetic neuropathy so that I can make people more aware about this condition. So let's start with this topic. First of all, what is a diabetic neuropathy? So as mentioned here, diabetic neuropathy is a descriptive term meaning a demonstrable disorder either clinically evident or subclinical. क्या मतलब है कि ये अपने आप को डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करता है, ठीक है। ये क्लिनिकली एविडेंट भी हो सकता है लेकिन सब क्लिनिकल भी हो सकते हैं, यानी कि हमें कोई सिम्टम्स नहीं भी हो सकते इसमें। दैट अकर्स इन द सेटिंग ऑफ डायबिटीज मेलाइटिस, यानी कि जब भी हमें इस तरह के कोई सिम्टम्स आते हैं दैट आर एसोसिएटेड विद डायबिटीज मेलाइटिस डिसीज विदाउट अदर कॉजेज फॉर पेरिफेरल न्यूरोपैथी, यानी कि बाकी जो भी कॉजेज हो सकते हैं पेरिफेरल न्यूरोपैथी के, उसको अगर हम एक्सक्लूड कर दें उसको हम बोलते हैं डायबिटिक न्यूरोपैथी. The neuropathic disorder includes manifestations in somatic or autonomic parts of PNS, that is peripheral nervous system. So signs and symptoms always depend upon the site of nerve damage. Okay. So in simple language, what we can say about neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, is that when we exclude all other causes of peripheral neuropathy except diabetes, so any nerve damage associated with diabetes mellitus is known as diabetic neuropathy. Its symptoms always depend upon the site of nerve damage. Okay, the symptoms may be motor changes such as weakness, maybe sensory symptoms such as numbness, tingling, burning, pain, or autonomic changes such as urinary changes. Okay, so this is a very descriptive uh, about the diabetic neuropathy. So let's study further. Now what is the pathogenesis? So अब diabetic neuropathy तो पता लग गया कि nerve damage होगा associated with the diabetes disease. Okay, but what is the cause? What is the proper channel? Why because of diabetes we are suffering this nerve damage? So here is the simple chart showing pathogenesis of diabetic neuropathy. So the chart is divided into three simple events: initiating events, metabolic changes, and physiological or morphological changes. Okay, so what are the initiating events? Initiating events is insulin deficiency, hyperglycemia. That is, whenever there is insulin deficiency, there is hyperglycemia. Okay, अब hyperglycemia का क्या मतलब है कि there are the chances of, so here is initiating event insulin deficiency. अब इंसुलिन डेफिशिएंसी होगी तो उसकी वजह से हाइपरग्लाइसीमिया होगा. अब हाइपरग्लाइसीमिया होगा यानी कि डायबिटीज मेलाइटिस इनिशिएट हो चुकी है हमारी बॉडी में, तो उसकी वजह से डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ मेटाबॉलिक पाथवेज हैं जो वो एक्टिवेट होंगे. ओके, so most common is the polyol pathway. Okay, so let's discuss about this polyol pathway. So whenever polyol pathway increases or stimulates, okay, it causes increase in the inflammation. And now in which kind of inflammation we can say? When polyol pathway in nerve tissue get activated. This pathway is activated through aldose reductase. Okay, it leads to the accumulation of sorbitol and fructose in the nerve. Okay, which leads to non-enzymatic glycosylation of structural nerve proteins. Okay, so these events cause increase in the inflammation of the nerve. So when there is an increase in inflammation, there are always altered functions of the nerve. So what are the altered functions? There will be decrease in the nerve conduction velocity. There is increase in the neuropathic pain, decrease in the psychosensory sensation, increased microvascular damage, decrease intraepidermal nerve fiber density. अब nerve fiber की density भी decrease हो गई, myelin thinning increase हो गई है, microvascular damage increase हो गया है, nerve conduction velocity जो है वो decrease हो गई है, pain increase हो गई है, और जो sensation है, sensory part है वो decrease हो गया है. That these जो physiological morphological changes हैं, these changes ultimately led to the increase in axonopathy, and increase in axonopathy means there is nerve damage. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Hope you all are clear with this pathogenesis. That is, whenever there is insulin deficiency, it will lead to hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia will cause metabolic changes, metabolic pathways to activate, one of which is polyol pathway. Whenever polyol pathway activates due to aldose reductase mechanism, it will increase the inflammation in nerve fibers. That will lead to the altered neurotrophism, and these altered or metabolic changes causes altered physiological and morphological changes like nerve conduction velocity gets decreased, there is increase in neuropathic pain, decrease in the psychosensory sensation, increase in the microvascular damage, decrease in epidermal nerve fiber density, increase myelin thinning, and ultimately there will be increase in axonopathy that will lead to the nerve damage due to diabetes mellitus. So let's move on to the next slide. So now, what are the risk factors? Now we have known that there is a diabetic neuropathy, that means there is a nerve damage associated with the diabetes mellitus disease. Now what are the risk factors that can lead to the diabetic neuropathy? There are two types of risk factors, modifiable and non-modifiable risk factors. Okay, so first of all modifiable यानी कि जो हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, चेंज कर सकते हैं, यानी कि अगर हमारी बॉडी में मॉडिफाइएबल रिस्क फैक्टर्स हैं तो बाय changing our lifestyle or changing our diet plans we can control this. So what are these modifiable factors? First is poor glycemic control. Okay, हमारा शुगर कंट्रोल पुअर है, वो हम कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, वो हमारे हाथ में. ठीक है. सेकेंड वन इज अल्कोहल इनटेक, हम अल्कोहल इनटेक भी स्टॉप कर सकते हैं, हमारे हाथ में. हाइपरटेंशन, वी कैन कंट्रोल आवर हाइपरटेंशन विद मेडिकेशंस. Cigarette smoking, we can stop and get our disease better. Hypertriglyceridemia, we can reduce the triglyceridemia. And obesity, we can also reduce our weight. Okay, so these are the modifiable risk factors, that is they can be modified by modifying our lifestyles, and eating habits. We can control our diabetes. Now what are the non modifiable risk factors, यानी कि ये जो factors हैं अगर ये हमारे में मौजूद हैं तो ये हम अपनी तरफ से इनको चेंज नहीं कर सकते. तो these are older age, when you got diabetes in an older age, because already उस time पे हमारे सारे जो functions है वो reduce हो चुके होते हैं. Second one is male sex. It is a very debatable part. Researchers suggest that males are more prone to be diabetic than females. Then height. This is also a debatable part. The most important is family history. Yes, if you have family history of diabetes, you are always likely to catch that disease. So when you have a family history of diabetes, I suggest to modify your habits, to modify your lifestyle so that you don't continue to have that in yourself. Okay. Longer duration of diabetes, when you have a diabetes for a very long period, that is more than 4-5 years. APOE genotype. Okay. Aldose reductase gene hyperactivity. एल्डोज रिडक्टेस जीन हाइपरएक्टिविटी का क्या मतलब है? जो हमारा पोलियोल पाथवे हमने पढ़ा था कि व्हेन देयर इज एन इंक्रीज इन पोलियोल पाथवे इट विल लीड टू द इंक्रीज इन इन्फ्लेमेशन इन नर्व्स. सो जो ये एल्डोज रिडक्टेस जीन है ना, इसकी वजह से वो पोलियोल एक्टिविटी इंक्रीज होती है. सो इफ दिस जीन इज हाइपर एक्टिव इट विल इंक्रीज द पोलियोल pathway. Okay. Then is angiotensin converting enzyme genotype. This is also similar. So these are the basic risk factors. Some are modifiable, some are not modifiable. So we should control our modifiable risk factors. And if we have some non-modifiable risk factors like family history or longer duration of diabetes, we should exercise, we should take our medications on time so that we may not get that worse. Okay. So moving on to the next slide. So now we will discuss about the different classification of diabetic neuropathies. Basically, there are three types of diabetic neuropathies. First one is general and symmetrical neuropathies. Second is focal and asymmetrical neuropathies. And third one is combination neuropathies. So as consider in this slide, this large fiber neuropathy and small fiber neuropathy comes under the general symmetrical category of neuropathies, while proximal motor neuropathy and acute mononeuropathies come under the focal and asymmetrical neuropathies. And third, combination neuropathy includes entrapment neuropathy as its part. Okay. So let us discuss these 5 types of neuropathies one by one. So first of all, large fiber neuropathy. Okay. In large fiber neuropathy, patient experience painless paresthesias. There are paresthesias, but that are painless paresthesias that start from toes and foot. Okay, clear about that? There will be impaired vibration and impaired joint position sense. Okay, the tendon reflexes may be diminished and there will be more sensory deficient as compared to motor deficient. If considered motor deficient, the patient may experience ataxia, but that ataxia is only secondary to the sensory deaffinations. Okay, so often this large fiber neuropathy is asymptomatic, but sensory deficit appears on examination. Okay, so next is small fiber neuropathy. In small fiber neuropathy, Patient experience deep, burning, stinging, aching pain to light touch. That means if we lightly touch the patient's feet, patient may experience deep burning and aching pain. The patient may experience thermal allodynia or and pain and temperature, or we can say that pain and temperature sensations are impaired. But if compared to larger neuropathy, the small fiber neuropathy relatively preserve the vibration and joint position sensations. Okay, the deep tendon reflexes are reduced, may be reduced, but that are minimal as compared to the large fiber neuropathy. Okay, there is minimal or no motor deficit in the small fiber neuropathy. Small fiber neuropathy may develop soon after the onset of insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. It means that as soon as you become the patient of diabetes mellitus, you are prone to get the small fiber neuropathy as earlier. Okay, so in this small fiber neuropathy, we see that there are sensory loss and there is pain and thermal impairment of sensations. But if compared to the relative large fiber neuropathy, there are the vibration sensations and joint position sensations are more preserved. Okay, so moving on to the third neuropathy, proximal motor neuropathy. So in this, patient may experience sensory loss, but in case of this proximal motor neuropathy, as its name includes motor neuropathy, so there are minimal or no sensory loss in case of this motor neuropathy. Pain is present. Okay, pain may be may develop unilaterally as it starts from lower back, then laterally to the hip and comes to the thigh region. Okay, so this is the region lower back, hip and thigh region. This shows the unilateral development of pain in case of proximal motor neuropathy. Pain may get worsen over time. Okay, knee and ankle reflexes may be diminished. There is motor deficit. There is a very visible motor deficit in case of proximal motor neuropathy. In proximal motor neuropathy, most probably the muscles like ilios muscles around the hip and pelvis area like iliopsoas, gluteus muscles, quadriceps muscles, these are prone to get weaker, and muscle wasting of these muscles is very prominently shown in this particular type of neuropathy. Okay, so due to weakness and wasting of muscles, the motor deficient are very visible in these cases. Okay, so next is our acute mononeuropathies. As its name suggests, mono, it means that it involves a single area, a particular area. For this case, this image, we have shown the truncal neuropathy. Okay, so in this case, sensory loss may or may not be present. Pain is evident, but tender reflexes are almost normal in these cases. Motor deficits are much visible in these kind of mononeuropathies. So if we consider a case of truncal neuropathy, due to the pain will be in this particular area distribution shown, there may be the bulging of abdominal wall. There may be bulging of abdominal wall due to loss of contraction or loss of strength of the abdominal muscles. Okay, so this is about the truncal mononeuropathies. There may be also associated mononeuropathies of limb. In those cases, there will be limb pain, limb pain, and wasting of the limb muscles. Okay. And last one is the entrapment neuropathy. We have all studied the entrapments in very detail in our bachelors about median nerve entrapment, ulnar nerve entrapment, popliteal nerve entrapment. So basically in these entrapment, what happens? The nerve gets entrapped in canal or entrapped inside a muscle. Okay. Due to various causes. In this kind of entrapment neuropathies, there is severe sensory loss in the distribution area of the nerve. Patient may complain of pain. Although tendon reflexes may appear normal, there is visible motor deficit if the entrapment is at more higher level. Okay, so these are the 5 types of diabetic neuropathies. Okay, clear with this? Now let's move on to the next slide. So now here are shown different kind of symptoms that patient may experience due to diabetic neuropathy, or I can say peripheral neuropathy. Okay, so these are loss of feeling, freezing, tingling sensation in the foot, sharp and jabbing pain, burning sensation in the extremities, numbness, and hypersensitivity. Okay, so these are the basic symptoms that we come across while treating a peripheral neuropathy patient. Okay, so these are few symptoms. Basically, when we see the distribution of symptoms, we come across the choking and glove type of distribution. What is this choking and glove distribution? So these are the stockings and these are the gloves. Okay, we all know that. When any peripheral neuropathy starts in the patient, the symptoms always start from the toes and feet and progress upwards. Similarly, for upper limb, it starts from hand, fingers and progress to the forearm. So in peripheral neuropathies or diabetic neuropathies, due to this kind of distribution of the symptoms, these are this distribution is named as stoking and glove distribution. Okay, so when the patient is in early stages, patient may have swelling in his foot or hand, but if patient ignores it, or if the therapist of the patient ignores it, it may lead to ultimate deformity in the later stages of the disease. So if there is any swelling also in diabetic patient and we have and patient is experiencing some peripheral neuropathy symptoms, we should not ignore that. We should take these symptoms as serious, because once it got into the later stage, it will lead to ultimate deformity of the limb. Okay, clear with that? So let's move on to the next slide. Now, what are the diagnostic tools? Now we all know that if there are peripheral neuropathy symptoms, we can consider it as diabetic or peripheral neuropathy. But do we have any particular kind of tools which make our diagnosis more accurate? So we have two basic tools that are used in the good clinical settings for diagnosis of diabetic neuropathy. First one is Semmes-Western monofilament test. Okay. Second one is NeuroPen. So let us discuss about Semmes-Western monofilament test. In this test, the monofilament is placed perpendicular to the skin until the monofilaments buckles. When the monofilaments get buckles, we release it. Okay, so this is the mechanism, this is the monofilament test the clinician do during the diagnosis of diabetic neuropathy. So for testing site, these are the testing sites for the diabetic neuropathy. So these blue colored lines shown 90% of the patient shows abnormal monofilament test in these sites if they have peripheral neuropathy. Okay, so first diagnostic tool is Semmes-Weinstein monofilament test. Second is Neuropan. This Neuropan also uses a monofilament kind of structure at one end and puts the pressure on the patient's feet and examines the tolerability of the sole of the foot. Okay, this pen has been regarded as the most easiest tool to identify the polyneuropathy or the peripheral neuropathy. Okay, so these are the basic two diagnostic tools. So let's move on to the next slide. So finally, we have covered all basics about the diabetic neuropathy. That is, what is diabetic neuropathy, what is the pathophysiology, how it starts, okay, then what are the risk factors for that, how can we modify that risk factors, then what are the diagnostic tools for it, and now we have come to the treatment protocols. Okay, so neuropathic pains are treated differently depending on their focal neuropathies or their diffuse neuropathies. Okay, so basically treatment combination, the main treatment combination that is used by doctor is these drugs: tramadol, tapentadol, topiramate, oxacarbenzapine, topicals, and botox. These are the basic treatment protocols followed by the different medical practitioners in their daily OPD settings. Okay, so now when we say that we have to treat the diabetic neuropathy, specifically the diabetic neuropathy occurs in the foot, okay, foot and toes. So we come with two options. First is the pharmacological treatment and second is the physical approach. What can we do? Okay, so in case of physical approach, we suggest to wear proper footwears. Okay, foot care, we advise nocturnal splints and physiotherapy management. In case of we consider for pharmacology, we take non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Okay, then we can go with antidepressants, anticonvulsants, and other capsaicin pharmacological drugs that are medically prescribed by many physicians. Okay, so when we treat a condition, we always focus that this is our target, then we plan our treatment. Okay, so in this case, first our target is hyperglycemia, because we have this problem due to diabetes, and diabetes is because of hyperglycemia. Okay, so first of all, we have to control, our target is to control hyperglycemia and other metabolic parameters. So what we do is we improve our glycemic control, manage our hypertension, dyslipidemia with other medicinal drugs and daily exercises. Okay, then our target is lifestyle modification. How we can do our lifestyle modification to control our diseases? We can stop smoking, cessation of smoking, weight loss, we can lose our weight because obesity is one of the cause of diabetic neuropathy. Second is increase exercise levels, we can increase our exercise levels. But then third one is disease modification. How can we modify the disease? Biochemical nerve changes, oxidative environment, nerve regeneration. So these are basically the biochemical changes through the drugs prescribed by the doctors. So here we can say that by changing our lifestyle and by controlling our metabolic parameters, we can very efficiently take care of ourselves from diabetic neuropathy and other associated effects of diabetes mellitus on our body. Okay, so if there is pain, we can go for pain evaluation with a physician. Then we can use an analgesia or analgesia we if prescribed by the physician. Okay, so if there are any coexistent neuropathies with diabetic neuropathy, we can go for immunotherapy. If there is B12 deficiency, we can go for replacement of B12. Okay, if there is ethanol, we can go for abstinence. If there is uremia, we can go for dialysis. Okay, so this is what our motto is, that first decide your target and then plan the treatment. In this way, we can more effectively manage the diabetes and the ill effects that diabetes mellitus put on our body. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, physiotherapy protocols. Okay, so being a physiotherapist, I am a physiotherapist. So what can I do if a patient with diabetic neuropathy has come to me? Okay, so basically patient complains of pain. First problem that patient complains to you is he's feeling pain and he's having abnormal sensation, paresthesias. Okay, so in that cases we can recommend TENS, transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation, IFT, interferential therapy for the pain, therapeutic ultrasound in cases of swelling, okay, and tenderness. Ultrasound proves very effective. We can use paraffin wax bath as an adjunct to the treatment. And these treatment, the upper treatments are for basically for pain and to improve the muscular strength and to gain back the muscular strength, because we know that in neuropathic pain, muscle goes into disuse and wastage. So to improve that, we can go for range of motion exercises. We can do muscle stretching and strengthening exercises that are very effective in treating this. Yes, if we can get pain aside with TENS, IFT and other medicinal treatment, the range of motion exercises, muscle stretching and strengthening exercises proves out to be very good alternatives to maintain that health of the extremity. Okay, then is postural and gait training in cases of patient like if patient has too much of diabetic neuropathy that it has led to diabetic foot. Okay, and in case patient goes into amputation due to diabetic neuropathy, we can go for posture and gait training care. Basically, when there is a diabetic neuropathy, patients bear weight unevenly on their foot. So we can train them in gait so that they can efficiently put equal weight on their foot and function efficiently. Okay, so basically offloading is disturbed in the diabetic neuropathy patient, so we basically focus in offloading in gait pattern. Okay, then aerobics improves overall health of the patient with diabetic neuropathies. And in aerobics we can use our cardiorespiratory system to increase blood supply to our limbs. That will help reduce our pain. Okay, then is pelvic floor muscle exercises. As we have learned about the motor neuropathy for primary motor neuropathy. In that case of, we can prefer the pelvic floor muscle exercises. In these exercises, we can perform the strengthening exercises for the abdominals as well as pelvic floor muscles, so that the wasting of muscles can be prevented and we can or the patient can work more efficiently. Okay, so these are the basic physiotherapy protocols we can follow in our daily clinical settings for the patient of diabetic neuropathy. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Now, what is the home advice for foot care? Now, basically, all diabetic neuropathic patients have pain. Mostly 80% of patients have pain in their feet. So, what is the home advice for patients? First home advice is clean your feet daily and use moisturizing lotions so that your skin don't become dry and wean off. Okay. Daily self-examine your feet for any uh, breaches in the skin. Okay. Use proper shoe type. Okay. And don't wear tear out shoes or sharp edgy shoes, specifically heels in ladies. Okay. Avoid the heels. Your daily examination may include careful inspection for redness, cuts, swelling, and blisters. So this you can do for yourself to you can you can do these things to prevent yourself from getting in worst of situations. Okay, so this is basic home advice for always for diabetic patients. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. Always remember, so we have now done with our diabetic neuropathy session. So what we or what patient has to remember always in the end, always remember do's and don'ts that I have told you. Then take proper care of your extremities. Check for any bruising in the skin. Please take proper care of skin. Okay. Keep skin dry and clean. Always keep your skin dry and clean means that apply moisturizers. I don't mean keep dry in like that. Keep dry in the sense don't keep it wet with water and all. है ना? So keep it dry, clean and apply moisturizing lotions. Okay. And for most important, keep check on your diabetes and try to control it as much as possible, because once you control your diabetes you can always control your all effects that can damage your body due to diabetes. Okay, and in case you feel any abnormal pain sensation, or if you have seen any kind of breaching in your skin, immediately consult your physio or any consultant nearby. Okay, so don't ignore, specifically if you are diabetic, don't ignore. Okay, and last but not the least, don't fatigue yourself. This is वो कहते हैं ना मूल मंत्र. Don't fatigue yourself is the mool mantra for all the disease in the world, because you have to exercise. The exercise will improve your condition, but never fatigue yourself. Okay, so this is all about the session. Thank you so much. Hope you like this video. Bye bye.